XRP, Bitcoin, whatever, right now is the calm before the storm. And what that means is right now we're buying like massively, like crazy, because we know what's about to come. And let me warn you, by saying just because we're in a calm period doesn't mean what comes after is going to be positive. But what we do know is that right now is one of the quietest periods ever, following almost any single metric. I've shown it to you guys a little while ago, but today we're going to go over it again. As again, on this channel, we strategize how to get the most out of our money at any given time. Having said that, I'm not a financial advisor, but I hope that I can help push you in the right directions to help you continue your own research. And so if you haven't yet, make sure you go ahead and press that like button on this video. Whoa! And anyway, first of all, I'd like to state that the volatility, we've explained it already, but it's at one of the lowest points ever. Maybe one of you guys has ever taken a look at CoinMarketCap or any place that's similar and noticed that if you've drawn upon this within the last couple of weeks, it's only basically the last 24 hours that were a little bit exciting, with some altcoins seeing some downside. But prior to that, it's been weeks and weeks and weeks of nothingness. I mean, even the weekly chart here just looks absolutely horizontal, because even if you took a break for a week, you probably wouldn't have noticed that anything actually happened in crypto. And let me correct you by saying a lot has happened in crypto throughout the last week or so, but a lot of it is in terms of news. And I've said it before to you. This is such a manipulated market. They know exactly what they're doing with the regulations. They know exactly what they're doing with these announcements. The fact that prices are not pumping is not a coincidence. It's not by accident or anything like that. No, it was specifically planned this way, I believe. Having said that, as we covered in the last week, price volatility for Bitcoin has collapsed to historical lows. The upper and lower Bollinger Bands are currently separated by just 2.9%, with a tighter spread only seen on two occasions in history. September 2016, which is right there, where the price was $604 and was early in the 2016-17 run-up, and January of 2023. The price was $16.8 thousand and traded within $52 range of the start to start the year. Anyway, historically, every single time the volatility goes so low, let's just call it, a massive spike happens pretty quickly afterwards. Historically speaking, every single time the volatility was this low, or perhaps slightly lower, we've seen massive price rises slightly after. You might look at the start of 2023 and think, Dusty, are you sure that that was the start of something massive? Let me reiterate. If we take a look at how cryptos have performed from the beginning of the year till now, you can see Bitcoin is up 75%, Ethereum is up 52%, XRP is up 77%, Solana up 135%, and so forth and so on. Most coins are up a pretty significant bit since the start of the year, even though the last day here it's been pretty awful. And I've also stated before, guys, right now we've seen nearly no volatility as we've been hovering around $29,000 for so long. But as you can hopefully see here as well, it's been with a slight downward bias. But right now, we've actually not, even though we've been performing negative, broken the trend. We had ourselves a breakout, no confirmation as we got rejected at previous tops and supports, but right now are actually bouncing off of this, I guess, multi-month trend line here. And so still, upside is not uncommon from this point. And again, we are still waiting for this massive spike to happen based on the idea that we should be seeing a massive spike. But let me base it upon more, because this, please understand, I can talk about this for most likely another 45 minutes or so, going over every single metric that showcases that almost nobody wants to sell it anymore. Anybody that wanted to sell has really done so for the most part. Right now it's just some speculators trying to trade it quickly, but for the most part it's just people waiting for the next big move. But let's just talk about it a little bit, all right? We're not going to go too deep because we'd be sitting here 45 minutes, but let me show you just a couple. An ideal tool to monitor this volatility compression, so exhaustion basically, is the sell side risk ratio, which compares the absolute value of realized profits and loss, the change in asset valuation basically, to the realized cap or asset valuation. For STHs, we can see this metric is effectively at all-time lows, with fewer than 27 trading days or 0.57% recording a lower value. This indicates that all investors who sought to take profit or loss at this price range have now done so. and the market must make a move to motivate new spending, i.e., an indicator for impending volatility, because nobody really is making any more major move. We've been completely exhausting all the people that are liking to trade at this area, rather. And apparently only in 2011 have there been about 27 trading days that were below the level that we are currently seeing. Or rather, I believe 27 days in total, with the majority of them being in 2011 or perhaps even 2010, looking at it from this perspective. Many people always ask me, Dusty, when is the bull market starting again? Take a look at this. If we turn to the LTH cohort, we can also see they are also within a profit-driven regime. Having only just recovered from severe losses throughout the 2022 bear market, the LTH profit-loss ratio, LTH standing for long-term holder by the way, remains small in magnitude, and a far cry from prior bull run conditions. Only 472 out of 4,963 of all profitable trading days have recorded a lower value, highlighting the infancy of this uptrend. Again, noticing from the past that every single time we get out of this section, the bull run basically goes on, right? Or the bull run basically, quote unquote, starts, depending on how you view it. And again, the long-term sell-side risk ratio is also pushing towards all-time lows, with only 44 trading days or 1% recording a lower value. Overall, this suggests that volatility and price expansion in either direction, so up or down, is likely required to break this spell of investors' apathy and exhaustion, as people don't know what to do right now. And even though we're only talking about Bitcoin here, once Bitcoin makes the move, all coins are going to follow. XRP, whatever crypto you want to put there, is most likely going to see an even more massive move than Bitcoin will the moment we get into some new volatility, some fresh meat, some fresh prices. As even though I sound kind of stupid saying it, it's been too boring. Literally for all the traders, it's been too boring, but also for the long-term holders, the short-term holders, people have nothing to do anymore. They wanted to sell, they've done so. They wanted to buy, they've done so on a higher level, right? A lot of it is right now just seeing what the next move is going to be and then acting to it. And now there's a lot of metrics as well that, even though they look amazing, don't necessarily say everything. What I mean is, here's, for example, the realized cap HODL waves, so the warm supply, and you can kind of see a certain pattern that also, so following the supply basically, also follows the price and how things move along in that sense. So you can see massive arrow down, slight arrow down, arrow up, pullback, and then massive pump afterwards, where again, it repeats. Right now, we've got that initial arrow up, perhaps not finished with slightly more upside, then slide downwards before massively spiking upwards. These type of things break your mental a little bit, because you start seeing all these different analysis and indicators or reports or whatever you want to call them, workbenches, analytics, statistics, whatever, prove the exact same thing, that, okay, following history, right now we should be already in the massive bull market and should be seeing some massive pumps rather soon. But that's, again, based upon history. It doesn't always have to repeat. And I think that's one of the most difficult things for people to understand, that if you solely follow history and you're not doing your best to purchase crypto right now, you're missing out a ton. However, no professional analyst could ever tell you that, because everybody knows it doesn't always have to follow the past. It could literally be so that because BlackRock is joining the game, or the SEC is trying to press everything, that it doesn't go the same way as it's been doing for the last 12 years, or I should call it almost 14 years now. Just for fun. All right, single cycle long-term holders. The final cohort are the single cycle long-term holders. This cohort covers investors that weathered the full spectrum of excitement, chaos, and volatility of the 2020 to 2023 cycle. Hodling remains the preferred market dynamic for this group, accounting for over 63% of the invested capital. This has reached similar heights as past transitional phases between late-stage bear markets and new macro uptrends. But if you just for fun look at how it moves every single time, you can see at what type of low point the inflection point is at every single time, and how the value basically goes up afterwards significantly, even though it can take a year or two, right, to basically get to the peak you want to, because the inflection point was just before 2016, or right into 2012, or here at the beginning of 2019, and we know where the all-time highs lie. I'd say, just if you really start thinking about it, it's almost inevitable for this to be one of the lowest prices we're going to see in an extremely long time. I am not saying Bitcoin and crypto can see some short-term downsides, but I'm just saying that I think the next bull market is going to hit harder than what anybody's ever seen before, but mostly in just the way we all expect it to happen. Now, following all this, we can indeed say that if there was a massive amount of demand and just no supply, so all these people have sold, but still the same amount of people are buying, the prices would have gone up. And right now, indeed, we are also seeing relatively weak demand. But the way I like to describe it is just that we're watching basically a hangover from the massive bear market, where the majority of people that are holding are just long-term holders, not really doing too much until we start to see some new massive moves, where a lot of the newbies come in, a lot of the news gets posted again, a lot of these short-term holders are going to speculate again, and I think a lot is going to also start moving as more and more people get into profit. All right, as right now we're at one of the lower prices for Bitcoin in a couple year cycle basically. And even though I'd say if you're not in profit right now on any of your cryptos, you've probably not been playing the bear market right. I do also understand some people that only buy once or a couple times and so are still underwater. And the moment that they get above that level, we're going to see massive amounts of volatility as people are going to start speculating, going crazy, and getting a lot of new faces into the space. So just know, if you're holding at this point, you've held through the most difficult parts, is what I believe. And honestly, I think from here on forward, things are about to get extremely more exciting. But remember, guys, this is probably just the calm before the storm. And I think massive, beautiful things are about to happen. But I'll be sharing a lot more cool things on this channel. So make sure that you go ahead and press that notification bell on if you haven't done that already. And let me know down below what type of video you'd like to see next or what you'd like me to talk about next. So yeah.